I thought every jeweler in the world had an up system, and I'm wrong. You know what an up system is? It's Tina's turn to wait on the customer. Mark is the backup, right? Mark is the assistant or the buddy. So then he comes in the sweet spot after Tina is waiting on the customer, and she goes and waits on him, and then she's the assistant. Mark's up. Mark's in the up system, and then Jackie is after Mark. You know, I started an up system in my store several years ago when I was in a store, and it has done magic for our store. But I just realized I thought everybody did it, and they're not. So I thought, hey, let's discuss the pluses and the concerns. I don't want to call them minuses, but I want to talk about the pluses and concerns of an up system, and let's see if it's right for your store, okay? So a few things. Now, as your store gets bigger, meaning higher volume, higher sales, you're going to need more scalability, right? And more repeatability in your systems and your procedures. So an up system may be the thing that you're going to want to move towards, okay? I know a lot of salespeople and a lot of stores have trepidation as to doing this type of thing because it's going to change their current system, which isn't a system at all. But anyhow, let's just look at some of these things. And some of the smaller stores, they may have everybody out on the sales floor. Okay, so I get it. You know, there's reasons why you wouldn't want to do it. But again, as we get more business, as the chaos of retail continues to grow, thankfully. Right? Good problem to have. We're going to need something. We're going to need a system. And by the way, if you guys are, if you're paying your people to be productive, and you are, of course, right? You're paying them either per hour or you're paying them bonuses, profit sharing, commission, whatever. Get out on the sales floor. It blows my mind that I can walk into a jewelry store in 2021 and hear crickets, and everybody's behind some sacred door. Get out on the sales floor, greet those customers. That sends an awful bad signal to people walking in your door. You wouldn't let them in your house. You just say, come in, you know, just yell from the back. You wouldn't do that. So get out on the sales floor. Okay, that's a rant. I could go down that for a long time. I'm not going to. But if you're paying them, get out on the sales floor, be productive, and give them workstations out there. Make it easy for them to be able to do their tagging and repricing or whatever they got to do out on the sales floor. So here's some of the pluses of an up system. First of all, it gives you control. Okay, control is good. Anything that we can do to take away elements of chaos is good. So we increase control. Next, we increase equity and fairness among your sales team. If you're having a lot of fights and a lot of disagreements and people quitting and crying about sales and split sales and whose sale it is, this is one way that really helps that. And not only that, but if Margaret is sitting in front of you in April saying, well, I can't get any sales because John over there knows everybody in the whole dang community and county, he's getting all the sales. Okay, now we need a system of fairness for Margaret. This helps with that a lot, trust me. Next, it raises your floor awareness. That's one thing that I talked about in the beginning. You know, crickets on the sales floor. Not anymore, because now everybody is intensely aware of what's going out on that sales floor. And that's one thing we talk about in the jewelry store training program is increase and have great customer or floor awareness. What's going on? Who's out there? It's a security issue as well. So raised floor awareness. Next, it builds teamwork and cooperation. It has to. It's built into it. It absolutely has to build your teamwork. And that will reduce tears. It'll reduce fights, okay? Next, customers get greeted in a timely fashion. I understand that December 22nd, it's everyone for themselves, right? But in the normal running of the business day to day, customers get greeted in a timely fashion. We're not talking about jumping on them when they walk through the sales floor. We're talking about definitely like a 20-foot buffer zone, okay? Allow them to get a feel of the store before they come in. But I'm not going to do a whole training on that, but there's ways to do this elegantly, okay? Next, it makes customers feel good, okay? They're coming into a store where they can't reach out and grab the merchandise. So we need to be helped. Typically they're coming in and they have something of a custom nature, or they don't know. They need our help. And so it makes them feel good, makes them feel worthy, it makes them feel validated and valued, okay? Next, it brings order to chaos, okay? Any type of systemization that you can do, again, especially as your store grows and you need scalability, you can't have 10 stores and not have a system of waiting on customers and helping customers in an orderly fashion, right? It reduces fights and frustration. We already covered that, but it does. I promise you it does. And it can promote shared sales and turnovers. And the way this works is that you have a buddy system, right? You have a person that's on deck, you have a person in the sweet spot. Person on deck can be floating around anywhere in the store, but intensely aware of what's going on in the sweet spot. When the sweet spot person who is up, that's why it's an up system, goes and waits on the customer, person on deck goes in that area. And also, some stores have run it where that person that's on deck is kind of the assistant to the person that's up right now. And there brings a perfect opportunity for a turnover. Or, it's not all, it doesn't have to be locked in solid. You guys are going to make the rules. But if a customer comes in and you're up and they greet you, but then they go, hey, I was going to say Francine, Teresa, hey, Teresa, and they obviously know each other. Then Teresa goes out of the up system lineup, and she's not up until her next turn, and this person still remains up. Okay, so there's all kinds of rules, but it really promotes shared sales, it promotes turnovers, and it promotes getting the sale for the store, which is what I always talk about. Now, some of the concerns, I don't want to call them minuses, but some of the concerns, it can come across, if you don't do this eloquently, it can come across as systematized and corporate. We don't want to do that. We want to make this smooth and easy and eloquent, okay? So, like I said, if she wants to work with Jackie, let her work with Jackie. Let that flow go. But you know what? What's really interesting about this, and I won't go down this road too much, but the more we all get to know the customers that are walking through the door, the better we're able to help them when their salesperson, their preferred salesperson, is off. So we need to all be in on the party and just get to know everybody, okay? But that's for another day. Next, let's see. If you have just a few salespeople, and a lot of stores maybe have 1 or 2 people on the floor at all times, listen, I get it. You're not going to have an official up system, but at least have an understanding of the back and forth, okay? At least have that understanding, because even there can be inequities, okay? Next, if the team does not work as a team, if your team is a bunch of cats scratching at each other, this is going to be a problem. So we have to build teamwork. We have to build an understanding that this is fair and equitable for all. And then finally, the other, and of course, some stores aren't ideally set up for this. So they're not set up for that 20-foot buffer zone between the customer walking in the door and you greeting them. So I get it. You have to work the system according to your situation. And then, and the other thing too is, your team has to build the rules as they go along. This doesn't work if you hand them a list of rules and say, here, go do an up system. Okay? What I did in my store is I said, we're gonna have an up system. You guys decide how it's going to operate fairly and equitably. And so that creates, again, teamwork where they build their system that they hold each other accountable to. So very, very important. I have done it. I've done it both ways, where there's no system and then there is a system. And I'll tell you what, systems are much better. It's much more equitable. We have many more smiling employees at the end of the month when we're reporting our goals, and there's a lot better teamwork. So you have to decide what's right for you and your team. All I'm saying is, to grow really big and to be scalable, you should have a system of some sort. So you go and decide what that's going to be.